Hello. Today's session completed faster than I anticipated, which is great. I love when that happens, when things just come in and it's nice and strong and powerful. And this session today is specifically for parents of AuDHD children, and it's to support the development of healthy co-regulation routines inside of the home. But before I take you through this, there's a couple of things I need to say that are going to be direct and clear and there to help all of us through an epidemic that is occurring across the world in relation to parents. Okay, we have the highest prevalence of trauma inside of parents that human history has ever seen. Now, we have the highest instance of structural dissociation inside of parents that has ever existed now. There is also, at the same time running, a really insidious program inside of every single one of the parents who exist called normality and perfectionism, right? Now, we have tried to make normal perfectionism, but perfectionism is in fact an illness, and it is directly linked to structural dissociation. I'm going to be explaining structural dissociation in a minute, but what it means is, simply put, is that you are not just the parent in your relationship with your children, you are also multiple children. And the one that clings tightly to your identity as a parent is the biggest liar out of every single one of them, because that is the apparently normal aspect of our identity in an extremely traumatized, dissociated society. That parent that you believe you are disconnects you from accountability and appropriate repair with children. It also disconnects us from seeing our children as individuals who are capable of nuanced, deep, and precise connection to the truth. When we start to measure our quality of parenting on an illusion and we depend on deflection, denial, dissociation, and the minimization of others in order to feel more perfect, we are lying to ourselves. The perfectionist in us, the perfect parent, is the most immature part of our system because it coexists with the mind and therefore is a fallacy or a creation. It doesn't exist. Perfectionism in parenting, good parenting, doesn't exist because when you act like a perfect parent, you are failing your child. Hard on that, isn't it? Right. So I wanted to say it clearly. Until you sit with and regulate all of the children within you, creating habits in the family line and the family dynamic where you are fully accountable for your mistakes at every moment that you make them, and you directly and completely and in a balanced way address those mistakes, listing everything that you have done to the child that you should not be doing, and fully making effort actively and visibly in front of them to change those habits. And you create a repair pattern with the child which is developmentally appropriate, where you do say sorry lots and lots and lots and lots and all of the time. What creates dissociation most in children is a lying parent, because a lying parent is a child trying to front on their mistakes. And until accountability happens, there is an imbalance in the power dynamic, and that imbalance in the power dynamic creates dysregulation in both. When there's dishonesty and a lack of self-awareness or a lack of responsibility in the parent, it creates a really extreme state of dissociation in the child where they can't, right? I'm about to give you a full everything you need to heal together process. This process will not work with a child who is being lied to. When you are approaching this from denial of your own behaviour and denial of your own actions around the child or to the child, no matter how menial, whatever the mistake, own it in the moment in a detached, honest, open, sincere and humble way, and start to dismantle the lie of your perfectionism, because it doesn't exist. and stay with yourself at every stage, because it is not the child's job to reassure you around your errors. The body, somatically, the vagus nerve inside of the centre of the heart, can hear, sense, see, feel sincerity in accountability. The body registers trust faster than the mind does. If you are in your mind constantly denying your own mistakes and trying to project onto the child a perfectionism that you can't maintain within yourself, it doesn't exist, you are setting that child up for structural dissociation in the future, where they will perform for you because you are dysregulated when they are not perfect. When we dismantle and completely deny ourselves the right to lie to our children, right, about our own mistakes, right, we create a trust somatically inside of the body that deepens and speeds up the process of co-regulation and dissociative healing, for both of you. Right, so everything you need when you heal together, before I take you through any of this, I want you to be very clear. List and honour to yourself every mistake you have made, and dismantle the idea that you are always in the powerful position of the parent. You're not. You have things to take hold of within yourself and acknowledge within yourself. And I am also part of this. I have made mistakes in my life, and I have made peace with those mistakes, and I make peace with them every day. And I do not go to my son asking for reassurance and for his forgiveness, begging, right, because I don't feel okay with my own mistakes. I need to take accountability of that every day and recognise that his support is not what I should be asking for. What I should be asking for is from inside of myself, for all the children inside of me to reveal themselves who are still upset because I deny their existence. Right, all the children that I push down because of my extreme defense of perfectionism. Here's another funny thing about the world, right? Love is not possible through perfectionism. We cannot be loved or receive love or offer love to anyone when we are trying to be perfect in an undefended state where power is neutralized, right? That's where love exists, reigns and rises without our control. Any attempt to corroborate with our environment in a way that manipulates an illusion of love, an illusion of favour, an illusion of admiration, an illusion of control, it's manipulation. It's not honest, and therefore it doesn't exist and will not land somatically inside of the body. And if it doesn't land somatically in the body, then it's not real, right? And it's creating more fractured realities for the child and for yourself. The truth is love. And it is so good to recognise that anything we have done wrong can be reversed today, now, and right in the middle of whatever chaos that exists ahead of us as well, when we continue to return to this. Co-regulation and dissociation, everything you need to heal together, as part of the Body Mind Connection series. And this is a series that I am doing in support of AuDHD child development, both in learning and in parental care. Now, and it's a trajectory of success where the child can achieve things that are deemed impossible by society's markers, which is whole health, healing and well-being beyond our wildest dreams, and I'll talk about that in more detail later. Now, so I'm popping up this presentation. I'm going to take you through it now. So, first slide, AuDHD and structural dissociation. Here's what you need to know or understand about what it is and why it's so important to understand it and know about it for yourself as well as for your children. AuDHD children and adults are highly susceptible to fragmentation. This is caused by repeated and chronic misattunement when we feel extremes of emotion and we cannot process it. Staying with emotions is unsafe. This creates nervous system overwhelm, and as a result, the brain bypasses the pain by flying away. Now, I'll show you a visual in a second which explains this, where it kind of goes like this, where the brain starts to segment off reality into compartments, and amnesia occurs. All the emotional energy and memories are stored away in the psyche and soma in pockets. Soma is the body, the psyche is the mind. And it's because they're disconnected, right? So the mind and the body are not connected. To help them survive the double bind of threat internally and threat externally. When repeated, it becomes a chronic pattern of structural dissociation where the child stores away parts of themselves, forming identities around those pockets of pain and hopping through these identities to avoid more and more and more unprocessed emotion. So the dissociative spectrum, I'm showing you this to show you what happens when we don't introduce or create space for emotional processing safely, which is co-regulation, and repeated regular reconnection of the body and the mind for the child in our lives. What happens is this, right? So it starts with highway hypnosis, trance-like state while driving. That's an example for an adult. Or extreme daydreaming or zoning out for children. Peak performance concentration, right? So focusing very heavily on the apparently normal part of us and denying the aspects that are struggling with emotions. Basically working in such a way, functioning in such a way where we are burying feeling states. And the feeling states are our most authentic parts, the most honest parts. These are the parts that hold all our gifts. The perfectionist part is a big empty hollow. It's a big doof 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 nothing. Right? Some people don't understand. Right? So it starts to create dissociative amnesia or fugue states. Usually shows up when people have blackouts when they're drinking. Right? Also addictions and habits. Doom scrolling is a minimal example of this. There are other examples as well where it's just creating suppression. And our society is riddled with patterns like this and encourages a lack of feeling. And it's extremely harmful and it needs to stop. So eventually it develops post-traumatic stress disorder. You might have these symptoms come up and not know where they're coming from. And it's due to this functioning in the brain and the body where it's remained disconnected. It then develops more severely into complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Dissociative disorder not otherwise specified, right? Or some personality disorders, narcissistic, borderline, schizoid. Now, I want to just make really clear something here while I show you this, right? These words are very heavy and loaded with stuff, right? These are all just spectrum aspects of children that have been blocked from evolution inside of our identity or our self. Narcissistic, borderline, schizoid, for example, right? These are the 5-year-olds, the 7-year-olds, the 11-year-olds that are running our system because we cut off the potential for evolution for them. Basically, summarizing this very clearly for everyone watching this today, feeling emotions together in a loving space is what causes evolution inside of the body and the mind. The whole body-mind system, the whole personal self, the entire workings of our health and well-being depend upon emotional recognition and processing, feeling. To reach our optimal state of health and well-being and potential in this life, we must feel. When we don't, we develop these alternate identities in order to cope with our reality. And these alternate identities, as we become more and more disconnected from our bodies and feelings, start to dominate. So, and that's what dissociative disorder is. So I don't want to complicate this too much, but it tends to end up in polyfragmented dissociative identity disorder, which I believe I had, and then dissociative identity disorder in full, where we quite literally have personalities that repeat inside of us. I had this and I healed it. Now, next one. So here's another example. This is secondary structural dissociation to give you an idea. So we talked about the going on with normal life part. That's the apparently normal. It's the one that avoids traumatic reminders to function in normal life goals. That's the part of us that is the perfectionist, that lies, that denies reality, right? And is unconscious of these other reactions inside of us. So these are the trauma parts. You could give these trauma parts over time names and then imagine that they develop actual personalities and characters to avoid feeling. So when we look at masking and AuDHD, this is where it roots from these behaviours of survival in response to trauma, right? And as we start to feel our feelings at depth, these start to collapse and a more whole representation of the self starts to emanate from the child, a more spontaneous, present, open, regulated, flexible selfhood And the inflexibility comes from the perfectionism and the performance. So the ANP is the mask, right? Which is why it's very important that we get over ourselves with regards to mistakes. Everything can be forgiven, and within our own selves first, please. So, the future for healed body-mind connection in AuDHD. There are flexible shifts between nervous system states. This is what happens when we include co-regulation into our daily life in the way that we treat our children, and also accountability and responsibility in the way that we behave towards them as well, and in our own regulated state. Bringing our own regulated state to them, learning to regulate our own nervous system, learning to heal our own nervous system so we can be better and better and better at healing them. So, and we all cause children harm. We are all make mistakes all the time. Please acknowledge this. And the less work we do on facing those, the more harm we'll create in the future. So it's a case of start now, Egypts. Now, vast improvements in physical and mental well-being in adulthood. Meltdowns become shorter, less intense, and clearer return to baseline safety. Better memory recall, more self-sourced confidence, and higher creative output. More expanded, joyful, and advanced social engagement system. Greater interoception, self-awareness, and longer time in ventral vagal state. Healed symptoms of chronic anxiety and overwhelm. Dramatic drop in addiction risk, relationship difficulties, and or self-harming behaviours later in life. Permanent health, happiness, and well-being. All possible. All highly likely if we co-regulate with our children. And I'm going to explain how to do that today. So how dissociation starts. So this is where it begins. A child experiences overwhelm, fear, shock, shame, or repeated attempts to punish without repair, without time to process with a parent or someone they trust. Their sensory needs are not met and they are forced to endure environments which feel unsafe or overwhelming. The child is shamed, punished, or shocked into changing their natural expression or behaviour. Expectations on child's performance, behaviour, or needs are higher than the child's capacity, which can change over time and daily, depending on their circumstances daily. The child is left in dissociative states for extended periods without repair or co-regulation to return to their body and the real timeline in which they live. Right, so they start to do maladaptive daydreaming or dissociating in daily life, and they're missing whole parts of their life as a result. What flying away or dissociation looks like. Eyes go glassy or stare into space. The child's face looks slack, expressionless, or far away. The child reaches for something to focus intensely on, becoming unresponsive to other influences. My son does that. They are suddenly very still, silent, or floppy at its extreme. Start speaking in a baby voice, different voice, or snap into a different personality or mood state. What is switching? In the early years, the sensitive AuDHD child handles misattunement, punishment, or emotional overwhelm by flying away or leaving their body. They are left in a numb state, which is internally dysregulated. Emotions, memories, and experiences are buried. When a child has experienced dissociation often, personalities form around the unprocessed pain. They are forms of defence or protection. They appear as masking, fawning, defending, reactivity, or sudden calm. I've done other videos on this in depth if you want to go over those. Over time, they become stronger and more defined. What triggers dissociation or switching? No choice, no pause, no way out. Switching or unpredictable expectations in parents. Senseless or confusing parental behaviour. Being forced to behave after overwhelm. Being forced to meet contradictory expectations in different places, not being loved, assisted, met, and validated in states of overwhelm or dysregulation. Oh, I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens. How do I go back? Oh my god, what is happening? Right, happens every time. Drives me mad. Drives me mad. Drives me mad. Right. Right, connection is the cure. How co-regulation works. The body-mind connection is an awareness of evolution and improvement to health, well-being, and future outcomes for all children and adults with AuDHD. It depends on the heart and body coming into alignment. Every time the child disconnects from the body, it creates dissociative states. Every time we bring the child back to the body, connect to the heart, and validate, meet, and accept their feelings, We reconnect them to their body again. Safety and connection between parent and child is the cure. So simple steps in co-regulation. Connection to self. That's the first phase of the body-mind connection process. Again, loads of videos on this on my YouTube. And it's the one we teach our children from the off. Right? The process of stopping everything to connect to body. It is the parent's role to support the child and educate them on emotions. By bringing them to the present moment and naming gently any emotion they feel, the child begins to feel safer in their own body. Sharing our calm encourages the nervous system and the brain to reconnect by bringing the child down out of aroused fight, flight, freeze, fawn, collapse states. The body needs love and safety. The mind remembers again who the child is, where they are, and that they are safe and accepted here and now. Everyone deserves this. So when a child has big feelings, here are 5 steps. Meet. Get down to their level and name the emotion. I see you are feeling. That's okay, and I understand. You are so safe to feel. And if we played a role in this, apologise for what we did. Right? Let me help you with the emotion, and we'll talk about that later. I'm sorry for what I did. I won't do that again. And then try not to do it again, So, 2, validate. Assure them of your love, your presence. Validate their feelings. 3, connect. Offer touch, offer calm, offer presence. 4, soften. Turn down the volume in the environment. 5, check. Is the child relaxed or tense? Stay until they have cried in full and relaxed totally. You'll usually see fight, flight, freeze, fawn attempts, some of these, whatever they've become accustomed to, and then a collapsing into tears, which is a sign of health. They've finally reached that point where the feelings have released themselves, and they might lean into you and then stay with them while they complete them in full, and remind them these emotions will go soon. You're doing so well. I'm going to be right here with you. That's a really healthy way to get to. It might not get to that point in the first wee while. The point is to attempt this in the first instance after making yourself a safe person and neutralizing the power dynamic there too. Any body tension suggests it's unfinished, so give them time to recover from the emotional release after as well. Regular, steady, routinely co-regulation with a child will start to reverse the effects of dissociation and create whole system healing with health potentials beyond our wildest dreams. When a child is dissociated, more steps. Soften. Remove distractions, lower lights, ease the child into a position of comfort or lead them to somewhere calm and safe. Slowly let them know, I see what's going on, let's have a little break. Short, kind sentences. Slowly observe the child. Use a blanket, a soft toy, a fidget toy, or affection and touch to bring the child slowly back to the present. Rocking and softly singing or soft music helps. Soothe. I'm right with you. I love you. And then return to now. You flew away for a bit there. We came to the calm corner and I held you. This is just an example. I love you. You're back. You're back now. It's Tuesday. We are in your room and everything is safe. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. Right? Would you like a hug? Short, kind sentences. Preferably don't say those things all at once. Take your time observing the child. Using your intuition with this process really helps. Cues that dissociation is occurring. Where is it? Okay, it doesn't show up right. We'll go to that in a second. So aftercare. Emotional release and talking about the real-time experience is important and can't be forced. If a child returns from dissociation and we interrogate them, it'll trigger dissociation again. Offer small instances of remembering. Do you remember what happened? Can you share how you're feeling now if you want to? Would you like to chat for a bit about what happened before? Do you want me to tell you? Right? And only if they're comfortable and you don't see them tensing up in response to this. Go gently, softly. Using intuition regarding what a child is capable of processing. Emotional release and emotion sharing are the result. It realigns them to reality. It will take some time for them to come back fully, so you might have to do all of this like aftercare a bit later if they look exhausted, which they more unlikely will. So record the cues each time, right? So the child will give away personal cues before they dissociate. Some examples might be they stop following instructions that were easy a minute ago. There may be a sudden loss of skills. They may become hyper-responsive to change in tone, attention, or criticism. They keep saying, "What? I didn't hear you," or turn away suddenly. They drop things, bump into things, look confused about where they are. My son tends to dive into his toys and then I can't reach him for ages. For me, I used to read and disappear just so I didn't have to feel. Context cues. The context will be integral to understanding the child over time. There may be past memories which are triggered by tiny things, so don't beat yourself up if they dissociate around you and you don't know why. Just note down what you notice, e.g. just got told off, feels in trouble, scared, in a double bind, can't escape and can't get help. I scared them, I shouted, I dropped something, I rushed them through something, I got cross with them. Right. Own the things that you do that are potentially triggering memory. There might be circumstances, things they went through with a separate carer or in school, that your tiny things are triggering and those memories are making them switch or dissociate. So bear in mind, being responsible for the little things we might do, because they all count, will be giving us clues about other things that have gone on before as well, that they might have locked off. So important to know. Has to perform for a parent or suppress something fast, right? So that tends to happen as well, which is unfortunate. In separate parent families, there is this propensity for children to behave differently in two different settings, and also in school situations. So there's almost always this sense of separate identity running for children. It's really confusing when there's not cohesiveness in how they're being supported. And without that cohesiveness, masking and performing and dissociation occurs a lot, and then develops alternate personalities and avoidance of emotion. It's really sad, and very often there's a parent that they release everything on as a result, and it's because of the structure of this. We can manage it though, but with this information. So prevention and management of dissociation, here are 3 stages. Adults will make it safer to be here. Soften voice, reduce eye contact, move closer but not in their face, reduce noise and people if possible. Adults will support the body first, offer 1 or 2 regulating options. Squeeze the ball, sit in the beanbag, gentle rhythm like walking or rocking. Also your positioning counts and give them choice around that. And you can sort of, monitor that and then come closer if they're comfortable with that and give them deeper states of affection or more presence or greater closeness, depending on what they feel comfortable with. Now, adults will give simple, present-focused phrases. You're here in, we are doing, it's this date and time, can you feel this blanket, right? Do you like this song? Like, just bringing them to the present in a sensory way that is comfortable and safe and familiar for them. I have relaxing songs for my son, and there's one song he goes to every time, and it's "You Are My Sunshine." And he says he likes me calling him his sunshine. And what else does he like me calling him? There's another thing. He heard me call him my best boy before, and I didn't realise he'd interpreted this the way he did. When he first started school, and he thought he'd made a mistake one time last year, he said to me, "Am I still your best boy?" And I was like, there was no hierarchy in that. I had to explain to him, he's my best boy all the time. Like, and it broke my heart that this is how he'd interpreted that. So I've stopped saying it now. He likes me calling him my wee flower. I call him my wee flower as well. And that's lovely for a boy, because he's acknowledging that nurturing, like he really wants that. And I think a lot of men have been missing that in their care as well. And I think that's necessary for all of us to start bringing that in, right, in all forms of family dynamic. Don't ask questions about why or what happened if they are still far away, right? It's about the younger they are, the more non-verbal this process should be. When a child is dissociating, adults do not raise voices, raise demands, demand eye contact, add more questions, argue about what they remember, or threaten consequences in that moment. Most important step, return to reality. After a flyaway moment, we help the story join up. Maybe hours later, but that's fine. Now you're back, let's chat about what you might remember together. Signs of healing will be faster and more complete access to their emotions, complete expression of emotions from a relaxed and safe state, remembering events, staying present, trust in parents and carers, a full range of emotions and healthy range between calm and emotional states, heart rate variability. If you would like a copy of this, please email me or message me on my socials and I'm happy to send you the PowerPoint slide. Also, when you're watching this back, pause because you might have dissociated a couple of times while listening, and it's perfectly understandable because this is big information and it's also very, very, very hidden and not fair. So this is an example of what an unhealed body-mind connection looks like. On the left here, anger, blame, coldness, pride, jealousy, stuck, madness, resentment, denial, hostility, egoism, victim, past, future oriented, power, chaos, complaining, self-importance, intolerance, war, and separation. Okay, so those are the things that happen when the body-mind connection is not healed. When it is healed, that means you're in your head. That's the head voice, right? And what we do with the body-mind connection is we connect the head and the heart, and the body and the mind. See what I'm saying? So healed body-mind connection brings in a we rather than me attitude. There's love, it's humble, there's friendliness, spirituality, sympathy, co-happiness, wisdom, forgiveness, unity, simplicity. And this is at the body level. It's not something performed, you understand. It's emanating from our state of peace with ourselves. Unity, now presentation, now orientated, altruism, acceptance, gratefulness, happiness, peace, understanding, tolerance, I don't know what Victor's about, free and being. It just reminds me of Frankenstein. Has anyone watched that new Frankenstein film? Oh my god, it's so good, right? So Guillermo del Toro, is that who directed it? Jacob Elordi did. It's really, really, really good. It's a beautiful story, heartbreaking. So healed body-mind connection is like that. Okay. Now, in the next few sessions that I take, I'm going to be focusing on these parts of the same subject. So co-regulation and dissociation. Improving AuDHD children's emotional literacy around dissociation, how to support them more deeply with that, and for co-regulation too. Tools and methods for supporting emotional release in the home, ways to do it that are sensory aware, AuDHD aware, and there's bunches of ways. And you can utilize AI, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, all that kind of thing, to look up supports. Useful things to look up: doctrine of autonomic space, right, which is creating flexibility in the body. Looking up ways to create expansiveness, comfort, peace, safety with children. Phrases you can use, you can ask. It's amazing. There's loads of stuff there. So creating and check your sources though. Do check your sources. So creating a centre of communication, I'm the best source, only joking. So creating a centre of communication between schools, carers and parents, which includes dissociation. So I'm going to be taking you through that. And I'm going to take you through how to create a dissociation support sheet, right, especially for families that are in split circumstances. How complex trauma in parenting might look after domestic abuse, and how to heal and know yourself while supporting a child to do the same. Support for one-parent neurodivergent families on dissociation and reducing stress in the home through difficult circumstances. This is all coming up, right? I'm going to go into it in depth constantly. I'm going to take loads of time because I just love this subject and I really care about it. So again, hope it's been helpful. I'll be back whenever. I don't know what's coming up next. I'll see what rolls in. Again, if you have any questions, if you'd love to talk to me, if you want to watch the rest of the series, it's on YouTube, The Body Mind Connection for AuDHD. I'll stick the link down below, and I'll stick my email here too if you want to access the PowerPoint as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.